I gotta stop dancing. My chair decides.
No, I'm on the same page as you. Oh, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Mount Schmoedown. I hope you all have been enjoying. We took a break from last week because life got in the way. And also, I decided to say effing and go to one of the
I was saying life got away, or Ryan went to a taping.
Yeah, but either way, but even when I'm not here, I always want to give the spotlight to my other co-host. But yeah, life did get in the way for my other co-host. But that aside, we are back together to give you an episode. This is another fresh Mount Schmoedown episode, and also this is going to be the last episode we're going to be focusing on fashions. And personally, for me, I can't. This is an episode I wanted to be on, regardless. And we are talking about the faction of Sexy Numbers herself, Roxy Striar, and that is the stars, or what they were, the rock stars of last year. But I'm not going to be alone. As you see before me, we have the co-captain, pretty much the man who steers this ship, the lead head Sherpa of Mount Schmoedown, Ben Rayner. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I missed you the last few weeks. Last week we had a break, but the week before we had Laura Kelly on.
I would have loved to have been here with Laura Kelly, but
that was a great episode, and happy to have you back, man. Happy to have you back.
Thank you very much, man. And also, once again, another great collaborator of ours. He's Ben's co-host of Get Schweddy and many other shows they have, part of Media Schweddies. He is the resident soda man and someone who I love to talk to when it comes to wrestling. Although Ben is kind of put off at the side whenever we do wrestling references. But Soda, how are you?
I'm doing great. So if Ben's the Sherpa, am I the donkey?
There's more Sherpas, honestly. I'm saying that the donkeys, this show is the donkey, honestly.
I just was not expecting you to compare him to a Sherpa. That's just like,
that head Sherpa to you.
Sorry.
I've been trying since the inception of the show on how can I incorporate Sherpas into this. Sometimes I try through a tweet, other times I try through maybe as a sign off. It's never worked. This was a good way, to get us back into the swing of things, honestly.
It was. It made me laugh, though. It was great.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm going to start maybe reaching out to a buddy of mine for custom T-shirts of Sherpas, and it's just like Mount Schmoedown. The show is the donkey. We're the Sherpas that get you to the top. It's work in progress. Work in progress.
We need to hire a PR firm, get a few drafts, some test audiences. Yeah. It'll be there.
We need one of those groups called.
Test group.
Test group.
Yeah, those focus groups. Yeah, we'll get the focus groups. And we'll get the focus groups, then I'll ignore their opinion, retest it, and then see if it works.
I've got a funny story that I'm not going to tell on air, unfortunately, because it's a little politically incorrect, but I will tell afterwards. It's a funny Kevin Smith story about focus groups.
Oh, yeah. I've watched documentaries regarding... I remember watching this film about this documentary about the Motion Picture Association, and so many independent directors were talking about how that system is so damn broken they rely on focus groups than actually judging the film on its own credits. But actually, you know what? I'm going to transition from talking about movies to someone who's about to be in a movie, and that is Roxy Striar herself, and her being a manager. I will say, guys, before we talk all about the stars, we will say so far this season, stars have had not the best luck, but it shouldn't change the fact that with every faction, regardless on where the faction stands in the standings, either last place or near the last place or in the middle, there's always breakout stars. There's always improved players amongst factions. And I will say, Striar is that her as a manager, regardless on how you may feel about her, she is without a doubt 100% without fail somebody I want in my corner. If she's made my manager or she drafts me as a manager, she is someone who wants to work with you. She's not that kind of manager that just goes, okay, I'll take you, you'll do studying, okay, I'll come back, and then you just reach out to me for advice. No, she's one of those managers who believes in a player and player-manager relationship. And you have seen how it plays out on screen, honestly. She's loyal to her players. She will not drop them unless, there is no way of looking past it. But she's definitely someone when it comes to the manager of loyalty. Roxy definitely represents that.
Yeah. I just want to say one thing before you go in, Ben. Like the record of the stars this year is not indicative of Roxy's managerial skills. We know how good she is. It's just unfortunately the stars have been extremely snake bitten this year.
Yes.
I really going to say, I bet you're going to agree with this. She is the best manager who has never won Manager of the Year.
I'd say that. I'd agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, she's always a top contender for Manager of the Year for me. No changes.
So, why don't we get into that? First, talk about the rock stars from last year. What do you guys think of them and overall thoughts about them?
Well, I'll bring up the roster, which I actually have ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, at least, yeah, when she first drafted, yeah.
Right.
I will say, yeah, rock stars, when Roxy was making this transition to become a full manager, at that time, who did she have under her? Who was she managing at the time? She was managing both Jeff Snyder and Mark Drago.
Yeah, I believe that was only people she was managing at that time.
Yeah, and seeing where they were going around that season, I mean, when they first paired off on Anarchy, the Odd Couple was a great team. I mean, they came up short in the second round of that tournament.
50.
Hey, 50, what's going on, bro? But then we saw but then the following season after that, when they came back, they played against the Scream Queens. They wanted a throwdown to play against Who's the Boss at a live event. They win that, and then they go on to play the Shire Wolves, who they beat to become team champions. They lose at the Collision pay-per-view and then go back into the tournament. But even in that season, when Roxy was managing them, she stayed behind both of her players, showing the loyalty and exactly how hard she was going to fight for them. So when Roxy was going to be one of the managers creating the rock stars, it's like peanut butter and jelly going to a sandwich. It makes perfect fucking sense.
It made perfect sense on paper, but hearing that you're gonna have a Draco and Snyder together was definitely like, oh, this is gonna be interesting. Like, how well are they gonna work? And
I want to say this: Snyder works the best under Roxy. You can get him out of his own head, and he needs somebody like that in a match. And their chemistry was fire, and probably some of the best player-manager chemistry ever, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I wouldn't argue with that. She definitely turned his game around. Yeah, she was a perfect fit for him.
And let's not forget, one of the things that stood up for her as a manager, the New York live event when Snyder played against Oyama.
Yeah.
It was clear to everybody Snyder just was not feeling on his best game, but we can hear one constant voice out, and that was Roxy. Sure, Snyder didn't pull out the victory, but he stayed in the game to push to a sudden death against Oyama. And I will give Roxy credit for that, pretty much it's like Jeff was that engine that stalled on a racetrack. Roxy was that person to push him either to the finish line or push him back into the pit crew area so he can reset himself and get focused again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's go through some of these players. What do you think about her and Alex Damon working together? I mean, she doesn't have the most knowledge, but again, she's there for when he needs her, right?
You don't need to be the most knowledgeable to be a great coach or manager. And yeah, it's another one I think works very, very well because they you know what? I'm going to say they kind of have similar personalities.
You really think so?
Well,
I don't
not in
blame
terms
you.
of like their ambitions and stuff, but I mean like in terms of like their sense of humor and just the way they present themselves. I see similarities, but maybe that's just me. Maybe I just smoke too much weed. I don't know.
No, you're not wrong thinking that. I mean, when Roxy drafted Damon, I mean, to be honest, Alex Damon was one of those people who were thinking, who is going to pick him? Which faction is going to immediately get the Star Wars champion and run the table with him? So when Roxy got him, it really was an interesting aspect because what was Alex going to be like now that he has a manager in his corner? Was his gameplay Star Wars going to change, or was it going to improve, or was Alex going to have somebody who was going to maybe whisper in his ear like you should play in other divisions? And we did see that season. Alex playing in IG. He played
and
his
doing
debut
pretty
match
good
against
too.
Yeah. And outside of and then of course we saw this season when everything happened with the digital matches. We saw how Alex was able to hold himself in the Battle of the Champions. We saw how good he did in the Lord of the Rings exhibition match. Knowing the fact that not only can he dominate in Star Wars, but he had the potential, does have the potential to dominate the slice of Lord of the Rings if it was ever given to him. Proved that his knowledge was there. And then we see in the IG tournament, he beats Brandon Hanna. He beats, he loses. I know he loses to Mike Kalinowski in the semifinals, but he played against two people in that tournament to where you saw out. Oh, no. Yeah, he beats Jen Kemp. Then he beats Brandon Hanna. He loses to Mike Kalinowski, but even then, he held a very strong
He went
game.
3-1 last year in IG. I have
his loss to Mike Kalinowski because he got
his loss to Mike Kalinowski. Yeah,
it was a TKO or the KO because he got DC and he just couldn't run with it.
Yeah, because he had to play in. He had to do a buy-in match, right? Play-in match.
No, he didn't. No, because of his win against Emily, he qualified for the tournament.
Yeah, but then who's the third win from last year?
Brandon Hanna.
And
then it was Jacobson, Jen Kemp, Brandon Hanna.
Okay. Yeah, okay. It's been a while since I've seen these matches, folks.
And let's not forget who else walked in last year.
Oh, go ahead.
Is it I become, man. Chris Jericho?
Yeah.
Yo, damn right. I'm still waiting for the live event where the Schmoedown crowd could sing Judas.
I am too. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah. Please have one I can afford to go.
Yeah, but I will say that at least during the draft, when looking at our original board of players, I know Jericho. Yeah, Alex Roxy did show the demon side of Alex Damon when he was under her. But I will see that during her draft,
the Kessel run.
Yes, even though Jericho came later on during the season, though for her easy picks up after Alex Damon, she gets Stacey Howard, who we saw Stacey have, even though she didn't play much, but she showed great performances in her matches. I mean, who can forget her match going up against Eric Zipper, where she pulls out Anthony Hopkins question.
That is an underrated match from last year. I remember a lot of people were praising it at the time, but it's fallen through the cracks. And I still think you go back, it still holds up.
Yeah, they need that and her match against Great Drake as well. The Stacy's on screen. She had some very underrated, overlooked matches now that season 7 has passed us. And working with Roxy, we do see the stronger and brighter aspects of Stacey Howard as a competitor. When she's just playing the game and she's only there to hear the questions. I mean, she was doing less of the interests that she's more known for. But when you get her out, but when you strip that away and you bring down the player, the movie trivia Schmoedown player of Stacey Howard, you never, ever count her out.
No, you can't, because you never know when she's going to pull out an impressive answer out of her butt and steal some points from you. That's the thing. You cannot take her lightly because you never know exactly where she's going to. You never know just when she's going to strike.
Yes. And I will say, I mean, that's one thing I'm going to say. We'll go more down the season, and let's just go through the rest of the faction board. Josh Vebeda, she picks him up later on when the Star Wars tournament was happening, but Yeah, she did trade away. Well, no, Josh Vebeda was like free agency for her to pick up, but then before it's going on, she ends up getting Jim Vebeda, who at the time everyone remembers from the team of top of IGN, and of
Top
course,
That.
Top That, who everyone most notably remembers for the biopics question, biopics slice. I'm going, let it go, everyone.
I
And
forgot
Vebeda,
about that. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Give
Okay.
fucking
Looks like
Roker
that
that.
many people do remember that. I thought it was still well known. I guess it's just
It's just
time.
so many good moments have happened, and so many things have happened in the last 12 months that it's just one of those things that, because it seems like forever ago, it's just I just hadn't thought about, and then you bring that up, and it's like, oh, that was a dumb rookie mistake on their part. That's a team that could have used a manager.
Well, and we do see that later. We do see that later on. We do see that earlier on in the first season. But going through the rest, she gets David Del Rio, who was coming off a very unlucky season he had last year. She picks up Bertie Payton, who looked like he needed some rejuvenation. And I will kind of say maybe we saw that, but if there were, there's only one teams match he played, which was with Vebeda.
Yeah.
And then following down, she picks up Adam Gertler, who unfortunately
he didn't play last year.
He
didn't even play last year?
No, he did not. I think it was because of what happened with the pandemic. A lot of people had their schedules pretty much thrown out the damn window.
Mm-hmm.
And so not many were able to play. And then of course, one of the big things he gets during the draft, which unfortunately we didn't see him play a lot. And then Brian did mention, she trades him. She gets Josh Vebeda, who at the time was a Star Wars competitor, and Roxy needed somebody for the tournament, and unfortunately, in that play-in, he loses to Andres Cabrera.
Yep, to start his historic run.
Yes, and it was funny if we had seen a what-if situation, a scenario if Josh Vebeda won, we never would have gotten Upset City.
No, we wouldn't have. No, overall last year the Stars, they were, you know what? They were one of the top teams. Like not top, but they were definitely up there.
They were above, like they were like the top 5 on the draft board. Yeah, on the standings. Yeah.
I forget who won the contestant. Was it the Odd Couple or Shazam?
Odd Couple.
Yeah,
because I interviewed Snyder right afterwards. Like I think within like the next day, I interviewed Snyder because I remember it was when they were shocked that they beat Shazam.
Yeah, oh god.
Yeah, I know Snyder at that point. I remember that match. Snyder, he was kind of done. Mark was just there, just waiting for them to answer. So when they missed it, you see the looks of complete shock, stun and shock on their faces that they missed the question, and they were the winners. Yeah, Rockstar's third. They finished out third of last season.
You flip the number around, and you've almost got the score, their total for this year.
No, jeez. I guess that just falls into I don't know if it falls into the draft the way Roxy drafted or just the luck they had, but it was just.
You want to stop right into this year's team because she drafted a good team. It's just unfortunately like shit happened that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, she was. I'm sorry, but she was too. She was the best players.
Yeah, easily.
It's Snyder and Twinkle.
Yeah.
I mean.
And Damon lost the belt.
Damon lost the belt.
Which, I mean, our year really was dealt Roxy the biggest, like the worst hand that she ever got. I mean, Mark Andreyko, he had to retire. And then Jeff Snyder, the weird.
This took me a second to figure out what the hell he's saying. He's using synonyms.
Yes.
You cheeky bastard.
Even then, like, despite that, I mean, Roxy did look like she was going to dip into the pool of drafting rookies, and we do see that she went that way by getting Zach Burkett, Jacoby Bancroft, Felix Morissette, Christina Bazzalo, or Chrissy V. She gets Brittany Young, who last year had a good win against Jericho, And then the two players that she
Nick
drafted,
Harley.
Jeff Lowe and Ken Jack, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's something if you think about it, it was kind of like foreshadowing for what kind of year, because right out of the gate, there was some controversy with those two picks to the point where they're dropped now, right?
Yeah, they dropped middle of the year to where she got Nick Harley as
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that at the beginning of the year should have been a sign of what kind of season the Stars would have had this year.
I'm sorry, who are you
I
talking
think one of the
about?
biggest hand that was dealt to them was having to change their name. And I'm like, oh, come on.
So Ken Jack and Jeff Lowe, when they got drafted, there was a lot of hubbub because of who they work for.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And Barstool Sports is going over a lot of controversy because the owner and the people in charge are facing a lot of they're assholes. They're assholes, and they were being called out for their behavior. And unfortunately, people were trying to like, oh, you're canceling them. It's like, no, it's about accountability.
Wait. Was it them that they were trying to hold accountable, or was it the fact that they worked for a dick?
Oh, I thought it was because they worked for a dick.
It's not them, it's for who they work for.
Yeah.
If that's I remember correctly.
Yeah, the whole thing of Barstool Sports in general. And I guess there was that controversy. Maybe they just weren't playing it all early in the season, and then things got far down to the point where they just couldn't play, period.
Yeah.
And then they were just gone. Because I remember before Nick Harley was picked up, Jeff Lowe was supposed to play a Star Wars match, and then that was stricken from the books. He was gone. Nick Harley comes back up, and then Zach Burkett's doing double duty in Star Wars.
Yeah, but if everybody could pull it off, Zach Burkett could have done it. Like that kid's talented.
And he showed, and he was doing very good in that first round of the tournament. Honestly, he just came up short against Gold Leader.
My boy Evan.
Yeah, he played Gold Leader. Yeah, Yeah, Thomas Harper played somebody else to
You're my boy, Gold.
Yeah.
You're my boy. You're meaning.
Yes. Let's talk about Star Wars, Evan Bushkar.
Yeah, but let's go with seeing with this roster and last year's roster though, I did say that there were some standouts with Stacey Howard, with the Odd Couple, and Alex Damon last year. But I will say that one of the unfortunately, one of the stars, rock stars, Jim Vebeda, that year he was trying to play. He was playing 3 divisions. I mean, he had one teams match, but he was trying to go back in singles and play in Inner Geekdom as well. And that was somebody Roxy really had a lot of faith behind, surprisingly.
Yeah, he's officially listed as 2, but yeah, he did play one IG match.
Yeah, against Ben Goddard. I believe it was a playing match.
Oh yeah, wasn't that the infamous DoorDash or something?
Instacart, yeah.
Instacart.
Never gonna let that go, 50.
I mean, until Gold Leader beats you, and then you can drop that. But but I will still say that despite that Instacart thing, Jim Vebeda Ben Goddard when I watched the match, he was doing very well until he got scores and soundtracks for his slice and opponent's choice. Yeah. And I'm going, there was just, scores and soundtracks is just one of it. Even then, he managed himself very well. And then his last 5-point question just gave him that loss. But despite that, with the digital season, how it was last year, I really thought that, the fact that Roxy was given a bad hand last year, she still was able to pull getting in 3rd place, putting her in a good position. And I think it was just more of how Roxy and her team managed to do with adversity. Because even then, they still had some shining stars this year. Even though they lost the belt, they lost Snyder, and they lost Mark Andreyko. Jacoby, Janine were definitely the 2 pillars of the stars that we're building. Yeah, and now with Nick Harley coming in, that's another pillar for the stars.
Yeah, no, and Janine's someone I wouldn't be surprised it goes back with Roxy next year.
Ben, I know I've been talking a lot, but bouncing off of what Soda said, you with Janine's work, how she's improved this season. You see her going back to Roxy?
Oh yeah, Janine is like Janine works best with Roxy. And if Roxy is, because Roxy is smart, she's going to keep Janine, and she's going to make Janine the new face of the Stars next season. That's my prediction. Janine is going to take over the mantle of Snyder and then Draco, I'm guessing. And she is going to step it up, and she's going to be great next season. I'm calling it right now.
I mean, looking at her performance with Snyder against Shazam, she only missed one question in round 1, but she was still able to work well with Snyder. Like she was the majority, she answered the majority of the questions in round 2.
Yeah.
And then came with her speed round. She answered almost all of her speed. I think she answered all of her speed round questions. And she's the only member of the Stars who's advancing in the singles tournament so far this year. Brittany is out, Jacoby is out. So Janine is the only one still going in the tournament. And yeah, if she's able to, if Janine, like, she's able to at least push through into that third round of the tournament, to me it would be a no-brainer. She goes back to Roxy.
What do you guys think of this? Jeff shouldn't have had to defend the belts after Andreka retired.
I disagree with you, Brian, on that one. I get what you mean. I really do. But if we have to look back, originally they were supposed to play in March or in April, but Andreko had some scheduling issues. So they set the end of May as the date, and it was just going to be for this. If they couldn't defend, if both of them weren't available, then they were going to have to relinquish the belts, and then that would have been a finals. But when Mark Andreko had to retire, I think they went through a lot of options. But I think Jeff, honestly, I think Jeff, Roxy, and Mark were kind of like, no, it shouldn't go down like that. I don't know what happened in the room. Oh, that Hamilton song just popped in my head. I want to be in the room where it happened, the room where it happened,
the room where it happened.
Yeah, that's Brian. This is one of those situations where we just weren't in that conversation on what happened with Roxy, Christian, Jeff, and Mark.
Yeah, and I'm going to pull the wrestling card. It is something that has happened many times in professional wrestling where they bring in a replacement who is proxy for that title match. But back to Schmoedown talk.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
I want to ask you this. Guys. At that time, when Janine and Jeff played, do you think Snyder already knew he was done?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know that, but I do think by the time he got to his singles match, he knew.
Maybe. I mean, because seeing him playing against Chance in that singles match, yeah, it did look like Snyder had ran the end of his road. And it looked like some personal things were happening with him that just got in the way. But even then with that match, I don't think it was that early to tell Snyder was done, because he felt reinvigorated with Janine on his team, though. He did.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, maybe around singles he knew, but not during that.
Here's what I think about that singles match. If I remember correctly, he didn't have anybody in his corner. Right?
No, Roxy, she was out. She was unavailable during August, unfortunately, to be there for Snyder.
No, I know that, but he didn't have anybody else, right?
No, it was just him. It was just him.
50 puts it up so succinctly. If Jeff hadn't defended it, they would have handed the belts to Shazam, and the Mercs ain't low freeloaders.
And that shows a lot to Bibbs and Brendan. They wanted to earn those belts. I even like that cutscene with Coy where they're like, you know what? Let them pick their partner for Jeff. I'm like, yeah, that just shows exactly the professionalism and exactly how much I love the Mercs.
Remember when Above the Line retired? Like, they just had the winner of the number one contenders match be the new champs. And remember all the hell that the Shire Wolves went through.
Yes, exactly. Because Brian, you bring up a very good point. You bring up a good observation, though, but it's one of those things in the Schmoedown history you have to look back. The Shire Wolves were being put through hell because of how everyone claimed their short run to the belt was. And I'm going, everyone there had a selective memory too, because they forgot about the Patriots, because the Patriots only played 2 matches and then they challenged for the belt.
Yeah, but back then it was different though, because you only needed to win 2 matches to do it.
Yeah, it was different. And they even did the same, and they updated to where you had to win 3 matches to play for the belt. So now it's not like with tournaments to where you have to win a tournament to play for a championship. During that time, it was when you win 3 matches and you qualify for a number one contendership, and then you play for the belt. But because Above the Line retired, it fell down to where either Star Wars are automatically champions or they have to wait for another team. And so then Brianne Chandler used her opportunity to be like, you know what? We're not going to have them wait another month or wait even longer. We're just going to have them play. And then let's not forget Alex Damon. When Alex Damon was going to play Sam Witwer originally, Sam had to retire the belt. Alex was like, no, I want to play for it. He played somebody, and whatever your thoughts on that match, guys, that's your thought. But Damon himself wanted to play
it
for
was a match.
Yeah,
Let's just say that. But kudos to
I'm
that
not
guy.
not trying to shoot you down, Brian. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not trying to shoot you down, Brian. I'm not trying to shoot your comment down, but it's just the situations to where we easily forget the history of this Schmoedown because we're so focused on the season right now that we want to see how it plays to us. And believe me, I thought like Shazam was gonna have to play corruption for that championship, but then nope. It was gonna I thought it was gonna really be Shazam plays the winner of the mini teams tournament for that belt, but they're like, no, we're gonna do it like this. And I liked it.
I forget who did Damon end up playing in that match?
He ended up playing Bruce Green. Who was, relatively new to the league, and I think that was his only season he's ever appeared.
The only match he's part of
Rooster
oh my
Teeth.
God.
No,
huh?
it's not Rooster Teeth, is it?
No, not Rooster Teeth. Jesus Christ. You know what? I don't want to break my brain around this. I know what he's a part of.
Funhouse.
Funhouse. That's it. Yeah, because James and Ellie also played in a special teams match against Kind of Funny. And that was a good match, honestly. I was expecting to see them around more.
Yeah, in hindsight, it would have been fun, but unfortunately, they live in Texas, so that's the thing.
Well, maybe if I know Christian, we all know his feelings on digital matches, but if he wants to do special digital matches, love to see Funhouse back.
Bring back Exhibition, because God knows I want to see Greg Miller back. Because Christian's right, he's the prototype of what you want for the Schmoedown character.
Yeah, him and Mr. Pino are fantastic characters, honestly.
But here's the thing: that's not characters; that's just them. I don't know if you guys.
I've seen their streams of Kind of Funny with that championship belt they had. I'm like, yeah, Greg, he fits the heel persona. He could be the MJF of the Schmoedown if he dedicated himself to it.
He could be, but unfortunately, his wife is due with their first baby any day now, so I don't think it's going to be happening anytime soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Fellow French Canadian Jean-Viez Saint-Ange.
Okay. And I really don't think we're getting any digital matches next season.
No. Didn't he say though that there might be a couple?
No.
He's giving everything.
I think he said if there are any, it will only be in the MCL.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I get it because it's going to be on Twitch, but it's also very heartbreaking. Look, I get it from the professional standpoint. It took a lot out of his time. Maybe it was more than it, especially so many editor for I understand. But I should say maybe, use digital for exhibition matches or use digital for anybody who just can't fly to Los Angeles. Now, he'll cross that bridge when he gets to it. He'll cross it when he gets to it.
A lot of the Star Wars competitors do not live in California.
No. And if Star Wars, and with the Star Wars, how it's been so dominant last season and this season, you're going to want to at least bring that digital back, especially how they were able to do that for Dragon Con when it wasn't available to them. They did that stuff through digital purposes.
Yeah. And winner, Marie Wilson.
Yep.
Yeah.
But let's transition ourselves back to the stars this season. Looking at, so far Janine and Jacoby have been seen as the pillars. And I'll say this, Christy, she has been a great step up for a manager whenever Roxy was not available. Her working with Brandon Hanna, working with Brittany Young, working with she was also on the sidelines with I think those are the only two she worked alongside with. Yeah.
I don't remember, but I have it right here. She's actually one of 4 players on the Stars this year to have not scored a win.
Yeah, she's one of the Felix Morissette's also another one, which
Harley and Snyder has not scored a win in singles either.
No, but Harley looks like so far team might be his turnaround because him and Jacoby did a great job against Pop Quiz, and they're going to play up against Deception. So I know, obviously, with Nick Harley coming from the FCL, this big fanfare behind him, so far he's still one of the few FCL players who are still playing. Ross, his season's done, unfortunately.
Which is unfortunate because Ross is a good player. That sucked. Sucked to see my fellow Canadian lose.
Damn good match. But I will say with Nick Harley, I do like with Roxy. Actually, you know what? One thing I've seen with players, Nick Harley and Brandon Hanna, the turnaround their characters had with this season. Brandon Hanna last year, with his whole, after he's dropped by Kate and traded to the Droogs, that huge turning maiden character. And then picked up by Roxy. He's slight change in his character we saw. That match he had against Zipper to where he's I mean, despite his performance, going into sudden death, 5 to 6 questions in to get that victory. That was a very shining, a star making performance out of Brandon Hanna. Despite
50 actually has some experience against Christina V as a manager, apparently.
Oh, yeah, I personally know Christina V. I played with her as a team, as a quick team partner in the families, and I know, and she mentioned her husband on a few streams. I've met her husband. He's fantastic. They're both fantastic people to talk to, honestly. If I could have ever had an opportunity to meet Christina in person, I would have hoped to seen her at Scum and Villainy last week, but she wasn't there. So hopefully she'll be there at Spectacular so I can meet her in person.
Oh, you're going to Spectacular as well, you lucky son of a bitch.
I'm not only just going to Spectacular. I've already have 8, 9 people who are going to be in LA for the weekend. Not just for Spectacular alone. So I'm like, look, book the hotel, guys. I'll send you my portion of the pay, and we're all gonna have a fucking good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
She'll be at the New York Live event, so get to that one, Ryan.
No, can't. I've already wasted a lot of money traveling to Scum and Villainy, and I'm going next year on the Jericho cruise. So I'm like, nope. I'm holding off on my money.
In a couple years, I will be joining you on that cruise.
Yeah, but for right now, I'm fine. If I have to miss out on New York, that's perfect. Even if it's the last New York event, that's okay. But even then, Christina, she was definitely one of the family 4 who I was hoping for big things out of. I mean, look. I'm not going to say her matches against Rick Radis and against Claudia Dolph. They're not up to the level that everyone's expecting to. But seeing her performance, just comparing the 2 matches between Radis and Claudia, those were big improvements, though. I mean, Claudia and Christina were tied both times out of the first and the second round. All it took was just Christina missing missing a big question to get the W.
Yeah, whoever did this website's amazing because they've got all the stats. So Christina V in her 2 matches went 56%. And only scored 21 points and had 28 points scored against her. So, yeah.
I mean, they're not bad stats, honestly. If you took that into baseball stats, she would still be a good player to keep on your team for next year.
56.67% adjusted score.
Yeah. And even then, her personality, she does great as a manager too. She can do great with some of the with witty comebacks, encouraging players, really talking them through a strategy, just like we saw with Brandon Hanna against Saul. Sure, Brandon may win the loss, but Christina, like Roxy, was there to make sure he kept his head in the game.
Here's a question. If Roxy comes back, who does she pick up next season?
Well, if she chooses to come back,
yeah.
That is a hard one. I mean, obviously, I do see Janine as one of the foundations for her singles for just one of her top players. I can see her trying to get Jacoby and Nick Harley back together because depending on how they're going to play against Deception, it might determine if Roxy gets them both back.
You think she'll go after Damon again?
I think she could. I think she will. I mean, Damon, it looks like it doesn't matter to him who he plays with, but he feels very comfortable working with Roxy, honestly. He does.
I'm wondering if who's going to win his next match. Him or his wife. I'm
pretty sure everyone's going to go with Alex, but I will not be surprised if that spread is split. between Alex and Molly.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun one to watch.
One thing for sure, Damon is going to win. Anywho,
Well, it depends on how he wins, honestly, if he does win, because in that rematch against Demolanta, he didn't score as high as he did in all his championship matches, in his previous championship matches. So we do know the changing of the punching up, the more challenging the questions are, they are testing Damon for sure. They're testing Alex. So it's all going to depend on how he and Molly are going to go after those first 2 rounds, how it's going to end.
Do you think he's going to you think he's going to play for the title again this year?
It's hard. I mean, if he wins against Molly, he's playing up against Nikki. And I mean, if he's going to, I could see him get to the finals. I really do see him getting to the finals. I would love to see Alex and Laura playing each other once again in the finals.
Hey, Taco.
Hi, Taco.
What's going on? It's just really difficult. This is the first time, like with the Star Wars and with the teams tournament, and just like with the IG tournament, so many upsets happened in the IG tournament. Well, not a lot, but we did see at least 2 upsets happen in the IG tournament. And just this week, we just saw an upset in the teams tournament. And even now with Star Wars, there's so many possibilities for upsets.
I know this is going to piss Taco off, but I think it's Gold Leader's time. I think he's got a really good shot at dethroning Harper. Sorry, Taco. I had to say that.
I think Scrimshaw might surprise everybody again.
You think so? He hasn't played in over a year.
Other than that loss to Andrew Demolanta,
that's the last time he played. I looked it up on last night.
Because that was the only Star Wars tournament. That was the only time Star Wars played. After that, there was no Star Wars matches last year until Spectacular.
Yeah.
I think for the Star Wars title, I said it before, I'm going to say it every week. I think it's going to be Lauren Kelly versus Thomas Harper.
I wouldn't be upset by that either.
Lauren's performances are improving her character, and now that she knows what to look out for after a match against Eric, I will not be shocked to see her playing against Harper. I really don't.
Me neither.
Imagine this. If it's Laura having the Star Wars belt, and Paige having the singles belt, that would be an awesome way to end the season.
Well, it'd be incredible. It would be incredible. Paige, I mean, Paige getting that singles belt would be great. That would be awesome. We would end the season with 2 female 2 times women have won the singles belt. Laura becoming the first woman to win the Star Wars belt would be amazing.
And that would mean all belts have been held by women.
Yeah, an incredible change of the guard, and shows the evolution that the Schmoedown has gone through. And now all that's left is just getting more color in.
This stays on this stream, Taco.
Yeah, don't worry. I mean, unless this stream is being shared out there by more people, or someone clips this out and goes, "Oh, leader, you should see what this person said." Like, yeah, we're not going to be expecting that. All right, but let's continue on talking with the stars now. Yeah, who they're going to draft next season? Obviously, with the tournaments, obviously with the team tournament, single tournament, still going through. She's already advanced, and she's going to be playing Mike Kalinowski. Do you see Janine passing? Do we see Janine beating Mike Kalinowski, or will Mike once again pull an upset like he did against Paul Walter Hauser?
Great. Can you say that again?
Did you not hear me?
No, sorry. Just I got distracted quick for a second by something.
No, Janine is going to play Mike in the second round because he beat Paul Walter Hauser. Do we see Janine advancing to the third, or will Mike pull another upset?
But you think Mike beating Janine would be an upset?
With this in the singles division, I would, honestly. I mean, well, so far he did beat Janine before.
Yeah.
But Janine has shown true changes in her game as a player compared to Mike. Yes, IG, he's good. Teams, he's fantastic. But singles has consistently been a division to where he is always hot and cold.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I wouldn't personally consider it an upset, but I mean,
it depends which Mike we're going to get.
Yeah, that's
if we
true.
get the focus, Mike, I can see him winning. But if we get the more relaxed Mike, Janine could take him.
Mhm.
I don't know. Both times, Janine, when it was a serious Mike and a relaxed Mike, Janine has had opportunities to take him down. It just, I do believe that Janine's going to win against Mike. I do believe that she's going to advance in the next round. Hopefully, and then play whoever wins in on her side of in her quadrant of the tournament. I just feel to me that Mike, I don't want to count him out. It's just he is at this point. It just feels to me that IG and Teams is his home, and he's only doing, and like he did say in his promo, he's only doing this for the faction, which more points to him. But I don't know. I mean, I guess for my excitement for the match, it's just not there like it was before in the past with Mike. That's why. That's why I'm hoping for the dead serious Mike, the one who's gonna put Bond on that wheel and maybe land on it.
To be fair, yeah, I don't see him going. If he beats Janine, I don't see him going past. I don't see him going for the belt.
No, yeah, I don't think Mike has it in him anymore to go for the singles belt. I would love to be proven wrong.
Me too.
Always
Me too.
I would like people wrong. I'd like to have my opinion change on Mike again. It's just it just seemed to me that he knows where he knows what divisions he's home in, and that's IG and Teams. And we've seen this year, IG proven, like, never count him out when it comes with IG. Now we'll see what happens against him and Amaru when that match is released. But Teams, we do see that he has admitted that he's not at his best in certain matches.
Yeah, agreed. I honestly think Mike is coming towards the twilight of his career, but he's still got some good wins in him.
Do we see him lasting much longer than Roka?
I think when it comes to IG, I think he can last much longer. I mean, to quote from an IG movie that's not very loved, old tigers go out at their most fierce and they go down fighting.
What movie is this?
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, fuck, I haven't seen that movie in so long. I'm a defender of that movie.
It's the quote from Sean Connery regarding his character, like his character's old age. And look, the movie's good at some points or not, but I'm saying that it's a very, very good goddamn quote. I can say that represents the players who've been in the Schmoedown for as long as Mike, Roka, Snyder, and JT have been. They go out fighting. Mike
is like Captain America. He could do this all day.
Exactly. But moving past with Janine and Mike, we also look at the Teams tournament coming up soon. Chaos Theory going up against Deception. Now, Deception, they're still top fighting form. It just comes down to it. We are starting to see certain holes or cracks in their knowledge. So going against Chaos Theory of Jacoby and Nick Harley, who Nick didn't have a good match against Paul Oyama, but we have seen when it comes with Teams, he and Jacoby complement each other very well. Do we see them walking out against Deception?
Could be. It could be. Jacoby's too good to not do anything this year, if that makes sense. No, I think they got just a good a shot as anybody to win the tournament.
Right, Ben.
But I'm still hitching myself to Paige and McQueenie.
Yeah, no worries. But I'm just saying, just regarding the stars for the rest of their season, how they can turn things around. Maybe get themselves out of last place and maybe somewhere to where they look more favorable in the point standings. They're not going to get to the top 5, unfortunately.
Yes, it was 50. I'm a fidgeter. I like to keep my hands busy.
Yeah. I mean, all of these questions all about these matches, I'm only talking about regarding just the stars standing right now. I mean, yes, they're in last place, but I still think they can try to maybe end the season towards a finale or playing for a belt. It's out of the question in IG, obviously. So it just depends on where it's going to fit for them next. Star Wars, Teams, or singles.
Either way, they're not getting past 7.
Unless they start doing knockouts against the top ranked factions.
Yeah, because they're still 8 points behind Swag. It's a tough hill to climb.
I don't see it happening. I hate to say it. I love I love watching it, and she's doing good, but
Yeah, it's too hard. Like, I'm not saying tank the season by any means, but I don't know. I think their season is done. It's done.
Well, yeah. Look, I get that. Yeah, I mean, right now it looks like everyone's saying there's no chance in hell they can get to number one. That's fine. But I still think their season can be salvaged. I mean, maybe they can get to where they tie with the Den, depending on who they play up against. Because, yeah, Janine's about to go up against Mike as part of Corruption. If Janine gets a TKO, they can take some points away from Corruption to move themselves up more. And then they're playing two of their matches are against Corruption.
You think they got the juice to catch the Den, who are 15 points ahead of them?
Well, from dragging back to recall back from our conversation Ben and I had with Kate. Kate talked about they just have to play some of the more top factions in order to get some more better points. Now, and then taking that logic from Kate and we apply it to the Stars. If they're playing against Corruption twice, if they beat Corruption, they deny Corruption big points to keep them from maintaining a strong lead to where the Stars can catch up. And it's just more if they just got to take some points away from the Mercs, the Dungeon, the Suspects, the Exchange, to where they can knock themselves out of last point to put swag there. And also Alex is going against Marley, who's part of the Dungeon. Alex gets a win. They also take points away from the Dungeon. So all the Stars has to do this season is just take away points from the top three factions, the top tier factions, in order to get themselves dragging out of last place. Now, one of the reasons why they're so far behind is because they've just been KO'd, not TKO'd, but KO'd. That's been taking points away from them.
Well, I don't forget, they lost two of their best players this season.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be the main reason why they're behind, honestly.
It's not the main reason why they're behind. It's really just a string of bad luck. But losing those two certainly was a kick in the cojones.
Yeah, I mean, you have a great point there, Ben. I mean, even with the Finstock Exchange, they started off this season relying on Roka and JTE for teams. And unfortunately, they didn't turn out well. It was many of the rookies in their dossier that were able to Arthur. Well, not just King Arthur, but I'm just saying the middle of this season, the rookies were able to keep them the rookies actually brought them in the top three. But then their second match and third matches later on, rookies started losing. The Mercs, the Dungeon, and Corruption came back was because not just of their top players, but also some of the players underneath them were able to bring in points to keep them alive.
And title matches.
Title matches as well. That's the one thing that's why the Finstock Exchange is not in the top three, because they never got title opportunities. And the usual suspects are down was because they've lost on title opportunities.
But still, they're doing pretty good. Paige is on a roll. They got McQueenie and they got Pages coming up. I could see them pushing for it.
Yeah. Who do the Suspects have left in the tournament?
Well, Paige.
Oh yeah, Paige. Yes. Oh, Paige. Yeah, McQueenie lost. Let's see, Jen Kemp. Wait, is she in the tournament?
Let us see.
Because her last match was against Felix Morrison, who she TKO'd. I'm sorry, she's with Swag, not with the Suspects. Wow.
Yeah, let's say.
I'm thinking last year the Suspects.
So Brittany Young is out. Jacoby Bancroft is out.
Yes.
And
Janine is in. Yeah. There was only 3 players from the Stars that were in.
Yeah. And Janine is beat Zipper, yeah. Oh, wait, Nick Harley lost as well.
Oh yeah, Nick Harley. Wow, I forgot about him. Jesus Christ.
The rest of the season is going to be very interesting. I'm really curious to see what happens. Not just with the Stars, but with everybody. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jen Kemp was in the tournament. She lost to Josh Horowitz. I'm sorry. That was on the Swag night, so I was right. But going on in, yeah, look at Janine's little small bracket in the corner. If she beats Mike Kalinowski, she can move on to play either Lon or Dan Murrell, and then that would be possibly one of the top, one of her biggest match. If Lon pulls the upset over Dan Murrell, we could see Janine maybe getting to the finals on her side
Yeah.
of the bracket.
If Lon beats Dan Murrell, anything can happen.
Yeah.
How many if Lon beats Dan? How many of an upset would that be?
Be pretty big. Based on the way Lon's
yeah.
been playing this year, huge.
Would that be as big as Guy beating Dan?
No.
It's that match. I know everyone loves to reference that match of Guy versus Merle, but that is a very completely different match with a different set of circumstances. It's a great match to reference.
It's a turning point in the Schmoedown history, but it's not as big an upset as that. Because Lon is talented. And I mean, not to say the guy's not talented, but he's not on a level of, at that time, wasn't at a level of a Lon Harris.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to keep shooting down everyone who brings up that match. It's just for us, since we've been following the Schmoedown for such a long time, watching almost every match, rewatching these matches, studying player careers. We're starting to see that as great as that match is, when to the general audience that's brought in, to us who are actually dedicated ourselves to this, that match is kind of just like it's a page turner. Honestly, it's a good endpoint of a chapter.
Yeah, and that's why everyone keeps talking about it, because it is, as they call it in the Doctor Who's universe, is a fixed point in time.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great.
It had to happen to get the Dan Murrell we got, because going into that match, remember, he was still playing like he did in his first run, and that's when it's like, oh no, like these guys are a different breed.
And he upgraded. He evolved. He moved on in his evolution.
Yeah.
And I will say this too: if Janine plays up against, you know what? I'm just gonna say right now, when she beats Mike, it's just gonna depend on Janine stepping her game, because she stepped up big time going up against Shazam. We see Janine play that way against Dan Murrell. I will not be shocked if Janine pulls out the best, her career-making match. Honestly,
if she were to beat Dan Murrell, hands down,
yeah.
it's she's on a new phase of her career.
Yeah. And then just looking at the team's tournament, if Chaos Theory pulls out that upset against Deception, then they move forward on in. Chaos Theory actually would solidify themselves as a team beating Deception, because Marisol, current belt holder, Adam Collins, former belt holder. So the fact that these two were able to beat two singles champions of Jacoby and Nick solidify themselves also in the Schmoedown. I think it would kind of solidify their place for next year, personally, if they win.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, easily. They would definitely be. They would definitely be like the belle of the ball.
Yes, they would. And also, Damon is just more along the situation with Alex. He has nothing to lose, but people will still either bet for him or they will count him out. And all I will say with Alex is that if he loses to Molly, I won't hate it. I mean, because he's said in so many interviews, Molly has been one of the people to help him study on occasions. So Molly's knowledge is there. This would be Molly just proving to everybody that she should be taken seriously, well, even more seriously as a competitor. So for all I know right now for the Stars, their backs are 100% against the wall right now in all three of these tournaments. Go ahead, Ben.
I didn't want to say, hypothetical situation that might be a reality. Who wins this match? Molly Damon or Nikki Milanta?
Nikki.
Really?
Yeah.
She's on too much of a roll right now.
Not the role, but her demeanor and just her performance has really outshined Molly, unfortunately. Because Molly in that first 5-way, we can give credit to where she was just playing for the fun of it. And then she shows up. Her matches against Adam Witt and Andrew DeMolanta I will say, just comparing the two of them, like if we have Molly versus Nikki, I'm just saying Nikki so far this season has shown much a better composure in her time playing than Molly has. Nothing to take away from Molly as a competitor. She's still someone I will not count out of. It's that Nikki, even when she had to check down, she spoke out the victory with Molly, to where she was going up against she had tough crackers. She had tough nuts to go up against.
Yeah, but also I picked Nikki because just watch how she played in her last match, how confident she was, and what have you, and that goes a long way.
Yeah. I mean, hell, if Molly does pull the upset against Alex, then we'll see her in a new drive.
Yep.
The She-Devil.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. If it's filmed digitally, are they going to be in the same room? Are they going to film from different rooms?
I would love it if they're in the same room. We just have those two face to face. We just have those two facing each other. So then the questions are asked, and we're just seeing them write down. And so the fun's just going to be with Mark and Christian. Like, this is weird.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
It won't happen, and I will tell you why. Because when it happened, Mike Shannon and Mike and Shannon always have been in separate rooms.
That's different though, because she's managing them. That's different.
I mean,
it could be kind of like what they did with Ethan and Liz when they were in the same spot together, going up against Final Exam. You know, they'll split the screen, but we'll know they're in the same room.
You know what? It would be like it would be like the end of Rocky 3.
Yeah. Freeze frame.
Yeah.
The freeze.
Which, if you listen carefully to the Rocky IV Director's Cut trailer, it is an arrangement of Eye of the Tiger. It took me 2 listens to figure it out.
Yeah.
My God. All right. Let's wrap up now, guys, with our talk of the stars. Now, it's been obvious from last season and this season comparing the stars. They went from a very good spot seed at number 3 to falling down to last place, and it's unfortunate. Yeah, you can say bad luck, unfortunate pairings when it came with the stars and who they went up against. But one thing I will say is that Roxy as a manager has not been anything short of persistent, backing her players. She doesn't care how they end the match, but as long as they maintain a strong showing confidence when they go to play. Ben, I pretty much been dominating talk as usual, so I'll have you give some final thoughts.
I mean, I like Roxy. I can't wait to see what she does next. Yeah, it's been a rough year, but if anybody can pull themselves up and evolve as Roxy, she's going to come back fighting. She has a great fighter and Janine in her back pocket. Can't wait to see what happens next season with them.
Agreed. Soda, once again, thank you for joining us again, man. Your final thoughts here for the stars.
So pretty much their chances of really doing anything are done, but, and I have confidence in this, I think Roxy and the Stars could easily be playing the spoiler to a couple teams this year, like they tried last year. I think they could.
Granted, that's one of their players formerly called the spoiler. It's a good play on words.
Yeah, no, what I mean by that is say they're going up against Corruption, and Corruption needs to win the match in order to win the season. Roxy beats them, takes that away from them. That's when you might play the spoiler.
That's why I think with their 2 matches coming up against Corruption, if Janine beats Mike, spoils Mike's single season to where he's nothing but IG. Yeah. They beat Deception. Yeah, they spoil Corruption's whole year for teams anymore. That's it. So you are 100% true. And I don't think women in the tournament, he could spoil Molly's season and Duncan's ride in because Duncan has been very unlucky in Star Wars. We will say that.
Yeah, I'll put it as another phrase that you hear a lot, Ben. It's like a bracket buster. Same idea.
Sorry.
Same idea.
Gotcha.
Now, I'll just give a quick 1 minute. All I will say is, one thing Roxy as a manager, at least with the season of stars, to compare her love of her diehard love of the Patriots, of her being from Boston. Patriots, they were a terrible team until they turned things around to become a huge dynasty of winning championships with Brady and Nick Belichick. Just past controversies aside, the Patriots were still a very strong team. I think for next year, if Roxy can take some of the things that she learned, I think she's going to have to at least win, and also depending on how Christian's going to change next season, Roxy, I think, mostly can benefit from this because the fact that she's in last place.
And there's 50 with his Lion King reference for the day.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. You're awesome.
Hopefully it plays out like not like a what-if version where Scar wins.
Yeah. Jeez.
But other than that, I do see Roxy despite how this goes, she can still end this with a silver lining to where she can spoil some factions, or she can bust brackets, still end this season with either Damon regaining the belt, ending the season how he started with the Star Wars Championship, or it's just more of like everyone goes home empty-handed, and Rocky's just gonna have to regroup, refocus, and reset, just like what Kaiser did last year. How he was able to change things up. Roxy could be in that same position on how Kaiser and Kate and Finstock were able to change their seasons going forward. So, despite how on this dark cloud around the stars, sure, in the galaxy, in the cosmic sense, the stars, they're burning bright and dying young. But like every supernova, all it takes is just, instead of a couple of millennia, all it takes is just a couple of moments for the stars to refocus themselves, and they'll be shining bright like a diamond. Rihanna reference.
Let's hope Rocky can get some sexy numbers too.
That's one thing I missed. Not many sexy numbers was used. But even then, sexy numbers, sexy numbers, sexy numbers. But closing out, thank you everyone who was in the live chat for joining us, having a good conversation with us, going back and forth or interacting with each other. Yeah, I don't know. I consider Rocky in that Holy Trinity, but that's you. 50.
No. What he means by the Holy Trinity is Holy Trinity of references amongst us, because of the Doctor Who, me, the Rocky, him with the Lion King. Like that. That's just
okay. Okay, yeah, okay, I get you.
This has been a heavy episode. There's my Back to the Future reference.
Very nice. Why?
Okay, yeah.
Are things heavier in the future?
Okay, I do agree. That was good. That's good reference you guys have there.
Yeah.
I mean, unless I have some Brooklyn Nine-Nine fans, I'll be like, it's the circle of life. That's clearly a triangle. But otherwise, references and pop culture aside, thank you guys for joining us in this live chat. Hopefully you guys will join us again next week, because we're going back into player profiles once more, or maybe we might change up the game again and do something completely unique to cap out the year. Until then, like this video, leave a comment. You guys share this amongst anyone else you know that loves the Schmoedown, that loves the stars, and hopefully if they like this, they can join us again in more chats, or even even drop more comments. Signing off for all of us, our resident soda man. Tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman, and you can find me on every goddamn show on this channel. There is no Let's Talk About Star Wars tonight, because we are taking our monthly hiatus for Taco's work. I think Dan has a show that he's going to do in his place tonight. I don't know if it's tonight or next week. Don't forget to check out our 4-hour marathon stream of ranking the Doctor Who companions. That was a task. 51 companions. 51 companions.
I wish I could have been there. I could have given some good turnaround opinions on some of the companions.
But you know what? We could have you on something special in the past. Well, I'll keep that in mind. But yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Schmoes of the North and all the videos.
I have to clean my house for at least 40 minutes until I jump on another stream. So I don't want this to end either.
Yeah. 50, I wish you lived nearer to us, because man, we would love to have you on any stream.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, my lead Sherpa, my co-guide on this journey. Where can everyone find you?
You guys can find me at my Twitter at Ben_Radio. And every week on Recapping the Past, Get Ready, there's a Mount Schmoedown, and Shooting the Breeze. I think that's everything, yeah?
Yep.
And that's everything I'm doing. How about you, Ryan, my man? Where can everyone find you?
Well, everyone can find me here on the Schmoes of the North Network for Mount Schmoedown. I will hope maybe tomorrow you guys will see me again on the Sunday show. I think I'm on a self-imposed exile after some of my comments. No, I'm kidding. Maybe you'll see me on the Sunday show maybe every now and then. And if you guys also check, I was recently on, speaking of Schmoedown, having a good conversation with Frenchie, a special guest Nancy Rodriguez, also with some guests having a quick opportunity with Ty Lieberman and King Khan. And then if anyone else out there are familiar with some of the after shows, I'm going to be on the Let's Get Ready Network's wrestling show I forgot the podcast, but I'm gonna be on that. I'm going to be on that podcast with my buddy and also first class league competitor, the sinister James Schmo, as we are going to be talking wrestling with Justin and Dagan, and also we do have our own James and I. We have our own wrestling podcast called Wrestling Ramblings and Rages Podcast. We've kicked it back up again, but this is going to be on a occasional period. It's not going to be a daily thing, but we're going to do a mixture of live video recordings and audio recordings. So check it out if you guys can.
Nice. And for everyone here, have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
Don't forget your sexy numbers, everyone.
Sexy number. 69.